Oops. Okay, so quickly to back up, the limit definition of the integral, the only thing you have to do with it, it's effectively taking a, a limit of Riemann sums and putting it into an integral. And you have to be able to translate that. Now, I don't love their notation here. I like how it's done a little better on the final. They take this 1 over n part and they put it in the front. So, looking at this, remember that the width of the box is effectively the total width of the interval divided by the number of subintervals n. Here I can tell because this is 1, I can say the integral from 0 to 1. Does that make sense? This part is going to be, and that is what I got that from this part. This right here is my function. The I over n is basically just counting my way down for each box. So that is effectively the x coordinate. That makes sense? And that's all you have to do with this. So yes, you can watch them carry it out, and there's some nice known rules for carrying it out. But it's not always that important. Okay. So these are your rules for carrying it out. You don't have to do that part. You just have to do the translate. So you're going to translate these into limits. And I'm having you do 1 through 6. I will do, let's do this one. Actually, I don't know why I'm having you do 1 through 6. I should have you do 9 through 13, and I will do, or 10 through 13. I will do number 9. I'm going to change that. You're going to do 10 through 13. Or maybe I'll do one in the middle. I'll do 11. So here's what I have in the rewritten form. For whatever reason on the test, they don't give the limit part. Okay, looking at some of the other ones here, these ones you can factor an n out of your denominator to pull it to the front. Does that make sense? Factor one of these out. So I know that I over n tends to be my x. So I over n is going to translate into an x.
Not always.
Yeah, because what's happening is as I go down let's say I go down my Riemann sum, and we're going to pretend they all start at zero. If they don't start at zero, it's a horizontal shift. So I is essentially my counter as to how far. So if I is 100, I've got 100 over my total subintervals. So I over n is always going to translate to x. So somehow I over n has simplified out of this.
Yo, yo, yo. Skyler won't.
So if I multiply everything here by 1 over n over 1 over n, so that's equal to 0, right? Or 1. Yeah. So I factored out the 1 over n part. I'm going to multiply this thing here by 1 over n over 1 over n, which is 1. So that gives me 1 over n minus I over n plus 2n over n all over 1 over n minus I over n plus n over n, which I can simplify to 1 over n minus, this is going to be an x, plus 2, or 1 over n minus x plus 1. This is a harder one than is actually on the test.
Okay.
So if you're looking at the one above, the 3 over n would be an x, or the I over n turns to an x, right? And I just make that my integral.
The triangle is just got that it's very.
What?
The triangle is also very.
I over n is the x because that's essentially my counter as I'm going along. As I'm doing this, I is I as a counter, it's which box am I at? Each one has a width of n, so it's counting my way across. And so that translates into the x. Struggling with what to do with the 1 over n part. So I know here because the top here is a 1, it's probably 0 to 1 for this part. I might have to factor more out though. That's why I'm getting stuck on what can I do with this denominator. I'm going to take a look. This is probably the hardest one in here, so Okay, so they did, instead of switching to the X's right away, they did. Wait a second. How'd they do this? Or did I start with the problem wrong? Nope, I did not start with the problem wrong. So the problem starts like this. I see what they did. But I'm not still not sure why they just turned it around.
It's not or about to move on. I need like it's like complete. And I saw it. They're probably like hearing this and like so so peaceful. Because everybody loved it. Don't lose the fireworks. And that walk and that was it. No, but no, sorry to inform you, but some girls back then said it. Reality second, it's the only thing we can. No, sorry, sir, line.
So somehow they're switching the I and the minus. And I'm not sure if that's a typo or not. Because that should then switch the signs here. You could multiply everything through by a negative. If I multiply everything through by a negative, I get I minus 1 minus 2n and I minus 1 minus n. For whatever reason, they kept the pluses.
Small. So. It's no see.
And when they multiplied through by the 1 over n, instead of having these separate, they went with I minus 1 over n. So instead of going here, we'll cancel those n's. But they did. I guess it doesn't really matter that much.
Yes.
So I can treat this like it's a x, but it's got a shift on it. Well, they didn't do the shift. So it's like the I over n, but it's I minus 1 over n. Okay. Does that kind of make sense? So you're looking for something that's an I over n. This minus 1 doesn't really matter because it's on both of them. They're calling that C sub I. I'm calling it x, which translates this then into a function that is x plus 2x plus 1. So you have to translate something, and this is probably the hardest one in here, into effectively an I over n. You're going to get away with I over n on your actual on the test.
You said the CEM. That's the least. As hard as examples.
Not as hard as this one. Neither are the four that you're gonna do for an assignment.
But
So that's my function. What are my bounds?
0 to
0 to that top number, 1.
And they don't fit.
That makes sense?
Well, yeah.
Kind of. So I'm gonna have you guys walk me through the first one for your assignment. First one on your assignment's gonna be 9.
5, and so we try to walk them through.
Huh? So what's the first step I do?
The thing to the front.
Move the 1 over n to the front.
Yeah. No. I'll see. That. Just one. But yes, very good.
Yes, you're on. Like forget plus two bucks.
There's a couple of them where you'll have to factor out the something over n from the bottom.
I mean, it's
Makes sense.
Like you can factor on both of those. I guess factor from the top too. Factor something out so you've got this little tail piece. Okay, so what are the bounds of my integrals?
You're the one.
Zero to 1. I over n's I can change to an x.
Yes. That's certain.
That's your function.
Oh. I'll say this is really easy compared to the other one.
This one was way easier.
Yeah, okay.
I picked the bad one.
That one didn't matter.
Okay. So you guys have to do 10, 12, and 13. A whole 3 problems for your assignment.
Oh. Actually, this is. Oh.